Thank you very much also for inviting me here. It's my first time here at the conference, and I'm really enjoying it. I'd like to present a little bit about PLOS ONE, about the journal, about our challenges that we have as part of this discussion. So first about PLOS, many of you will know us, but for those that don't, we're not-for-profit open access publisher and also advocacy organization, which is very important, the advocacy part, because we have our mission is to accelerate progress in science and science publishing. And open access, open science is very important to us. It's how scientists can come together, how research is done, and it's not just about open access, it's also about open science, open data, and all of these aspects. So yeah, as part of PLOS mission, PLOS ONE was conceived about 10 years ago. Short on the 22nd of December 2006, we launched as a journal for the entire scientific community. All disciplines in science, medicine, life sciences, related social sciences, engineering, are welcome to submit to the journal or are within our scope. We do not select, obviously, our content on perceived impact. We only apply sort of our rigorous technical correctness criteria, so that everything that is done rigorously within the ethical requirements, sort of adequately reported, supported by the data. All of this is published. All the conclusions need to be supported by the data, and the relevant data needs to be published upon publication, needs to be made free upon publication, which again is a very important discriminator for the journal, having this kind of strong data availability policy in place. So everything that deserves to be published will be published, or should be published. We are not limited in size, obviously, it's online. We are also very large in size, about 45,000 submissions, 22,000 published papers, approximately last year. And yeah, one part is also that sort of our content needs to be visible to the reader. Having such a large catalog of published manuscripts makes it very challenging. So we have introduced very early on article level metrics, where you can access our papers based on their popularity. We have recently launched something that's called channels, which is curated streams of content in certain subject areas that are curated by academic editors that select content from an area, and that gives additional visibility of papers that we publish in certain disciplines. So what makes PLOS ONE different to maybe some of the other products, or also even as an organization? As I said, first of all, we are not for profit. So our aim is to provide the best value to scientists. Our APC is intended to be sustainable for us, but also to ensure that not too much money goes into the publication process. We are inclusive for all research. As I mentioned before, all valid research should be published. What's also different to PLOS ONE compared to some of the other mega journals maybe out there is that we're not designed to be the end of the food chain, if you like, for the publishing. We like to attract content across all the spectrum of impact or quality, or what, however you want to describe that. It should be inclusive for all the publishing and not just papers that fulfill the criteria of being sound or rigorous. But yeah, I mean, yes, of course, that's probably a large part of what we publish, but we also like to attract content that, maybe has also high impact and so on. So that I believe is one of the distinct distinctions to other journals. Yeah, and as I said, we serve the long-term interests of the community. One example of doing this is our data policy, where we ask that all the data is submitted and published. This is maybe something that, as a scientist, when you write a paper, when you submit a paper, you don't necessarily find that easy or to assemble or to comply with, but it is something that serves the community. It's something that serves the reader. And for us, this kind of long-term interest is also very important. There are some challenges as well, of course, that face us. Others have followed our lead. There's now a large number of mega-journal or similar products, as Stephen mentioned. That's obviously great because, as I said before, our mission is to promote open access, to promote available data, and to promote content. And if others are doing the same, that's fantastic because it serves the scientific community. And again, this is one of our missions. So we very much welcome that. As a result, submissions have dropped at the journal from the peak. Last year alone, they dropped by about 9%. The published output dropped a bit more, by about 20%. That maybe reflects difference in the quality of submissions because we are holding up our editorial standards. We're not changing our standards. But recently, in the last couple of months, sort of this submissions trend has become more stable. So reflecting that some sort of equilibrium maybe has been reached, we'll see. Content promotion is, of course, a huge challenge as well. If you publish this many papers, as I mentioned before, we have these channels that we try, for example, to use to promote content in certain areas. We have this article level metrics and try to support good content via that. We also remain very strict with our sort of quality control, with the peer review, with the policies that we have in place. We have initiated a number of policies in different fields that ensure that the papers that we publish have the right kind of quality level. And through this, we are also hoping to induce maybe some change in certain fields. One random example that comes to mind is we recently introduced a policy on human endpoints for animal research, just as an example of some of the policies that we have initiated. In the publishing landscape, as I'd just like to mention that, of course, there's differentiators between the large journals, between the mega journals. When I was at Nature Communications, for example, we had an internal discussion: are we a mega journal or not? Because of, it's a very selective product. Also between us and some of the other mega journals, there's differences. As I mentioned before, we try to attract content across all impact levels, whereas for others it's more like other journals select first, and then through the transfer system, papers end up in some of the mega journals. As I said before, we are really happy that papers get published, open access, or get put out there free to read, and preprints is another interesting challenge for the mega journals, I believe. For something like PLOS ONE, I think it's an interesting or ideal kind of complement where preprint servers also publish basically everything, and the difference between us and the preprint server is the peer review process. So yeah, we are very much behind. There are recent drive also in the life sciences to go after preprints. And sort of another challenge is that, another aspect of the megajournals is that we can drive the change. So through the data policy, through our policies that we implement, we can actually initiate some of the changes in publishing simply through our sheer size. Since we have introduced our data sharing policy, more than 65,000 papers in 3 years were published with a data statement in them, where the data can be accessed or can be downloaded. So journals like like ours really can be drivers of change, and that's what we like to do at PLOS. So just to conclude, we were much driven towards open science. We like to promote open science. We like to drive the interests of the community. We like to continue on that path. We play, or still aim to play, an important role in the publication process, and try to initiate more change towards open science, also with other publishers or with the scientists or with our authors. So that's what I have to say here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.